has to offer us. Walking through, as I said, Kev calls crap, I call antiques, old mixers, old machines from that some of us our age, 22 below, don't even know what they are. Video games called Score. This place has housed a lot of amazing bands, as well as art, as well as different skateboarding, bike films being released here. Sometimes you'll see movie night, a whole bunch of different stuff. If you look back here, on a good night, you might get a cup of coffee, local root beer, some Stewart's root beer, whatever you're really looking for. There's more paraphernalia you got going on all up against the wall, from Star Wars to Sesame Street to Pee Wee Herman, all the way to X-Men, Batman, comic books, Elvis Presley, even some really old retro cashiers, cash registers, some very old retro games. I'll put it this way. Here's a retro video game that I was caught playing way too many times, even while a band was playing. I really don't know what it is. It's called a Vectrex. I've never seen one before. This is the first time and the only time I've ever seen one, even though I played it 1.5 billion times. But different games you could find here. You might even catch me playing it a little bit later, bringing back some of the old memories of being here. It's kind of strange to be here after the number of years I've spent here, and first time I'm actually doing an interview for Breaking the Mold, so consider yourself lucky. So, as we're walking through, this is the main cafe. You kind of just hang out. There's tables everywhere, a whole bunch of different stuff to look at, and you're entering, right now, the room where all the shows have been held. Small room, but then again, we're in Northeast PA, small area, as well as we're also in the middle of a city. Right here, our friend Donnie, who you may meet later if he decides to, you know, get his cup of coffee and come on screen. All the speakers, the PA system. So many bands that play out of that mixer, these speakers, I couldn't even begin to tell you. As you heard before, Kevin said Fall Out Boy in their youth also spent some time here. Bands like Dance Gavin Dance, Big D and the Kids Table, Against All Authority. I believe even the Casualties made a stroll through here once or twice. The venue holds, now don't quote me on this, a little over 100 people. You got, of course, in this area you have to keep it under fire hazard. We don't want anybody getting hurt. But the room back in the day used to be all different color walls and stickered like you wouldn't believe. Not like CDGB, where the stickers were CB. I can't even say it right now. Nope, skip it. I don't even care, because you know what? They're gone now, and I was bummed about it, and I can't even remember how it's said because I'm totally going out there. But anyway, back in that venue, there was almost 2 inches thick full of stickers. Well, this venue has almost made that, but due to a fire hazard recently in fire code, when Wilkes-Barre came through, they decided to tear down parts of the wall, rebuild, and get it up to fire code after the new codes were written. So all the walls are now black, lights everywhere, as you can see, speakers. Sometimes this venue would pack in kids to the point where artists like Big D and the Kids Table would come outside and play acoustic and let everyone who didn't make it into the show scream at the top of their lungs every word, every lyric to the song that they're playing. I remember one time I was here watching Big D and the Kids Table, and there were kids actually sitting in the trees yelling as Big D and the Kids Table below them were singing. So, over here is where you get all your merch, you get the fans. Not a very well ventilated area, because remember, we have to keep the acoustics and everything to sound as best as we can without disturbing anybody else out in the street or in the public. So, as you can see, this is mostly a standing venue. Have a good time. So many bands have played here, as I said before. Sometimes so many bands would be here in a package that you would have equipment lined all the way from the back behind the stage, which looks a little bit like a boxing ring, all the way down to the side here. And that's, you know, it's going to be a good night when there's people packed from wall to wall, and so many different things happen, so much energy, so many different bands, so many different genres, depending on the show. Makes for a great time. Just look at it. This venue's been here for a very, very long number of years, over a decade. Many local bands that have started just as they were young, on their way up, have began here, as well as bigger bands that I personally look up to have been here to see this band play. So, without further ado, I give you the stage of Cafe Metropolis. Very small, but yet draws some of the most powerful bands that in the indie music scene in the area, as well as all over the United States. So we're going to take it around back, and we'll see what goes on outside, and maybe we'll give you a little taste of what Wilkes-Barre is like in Pennsylvania. Now this is what we call the backstage entrance. Even though this isn't a big venue, there's a backstage entrance for all the bands to load in their equipment. So if you come out this way, you're entering right onto Main Street of Wilkes-Barre. So of course that door has to remain closed at all times while the show's going on, but now you're in Wilkes-Barre. Take a look around. Just a small venue, one of the only venues in Wilkes-Barre where you get to see live music aside from any of the bars in Pennsylvania. For example, the Riverfront Jazz Cafe, which is, about 2-3 miles from this area. But this is an all-ages venue. Attracts kids anywhere from 10 to 24 to 36, whatever you want to do. All ages means all ages. No alcohol served. Great venue for kids growing up, trying to learn about music, to get a chance to come in and see what it's like in Wilkes-Barre. If you're on your skateboard, so many times, if you're on your bike, you can park it right outside and come out and enjoy yourself. So without further ado, I just presented you with Cafe Metropolis. Maybe we'll have an interview with Danny later, and we're also going to have an interview with the Color Fred. Make sure you stay tuned to Breaking the Mold.